Pantry, and today I'm gonna bring you along for a delicious recipe. So I was gonna can just plain chicken and bring you along for it, but I've done that several times and I thought, I wanna mix it up and I want something different on the shelf. I have quite a bit of chicken on the shelf, but I got this on sale for a really good buy. I really feel like right now, keep your pantry stocked because we don't know what's coming around the corner. So I pulled out enough 1.5 pint jars to do this recipe, and the recipe is actually in the this one of my favorite books, but it is falling apart. This is the All New Ball Book of Canning and Preserving, and on page 297 there's a roast pork and spicy broth. And I'm gonna do the pork as well, but I thought, well, why can't I just use chicken? Because all of the flavors would be something that I would use in a chicken recipe. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm just shy of tripling the recipe because I wanna go ahead and fill my canner with 8 1.5 pint jars of chicken in spicy broth. So it calls for bone broth. I've got 3 quarts of bone broth. I'm gonna use that, and then I'm gonna add to it with some purified water. I've got onions that need to be sliced up. I'll use Knorr's chicken bouillon, or maybe I'll use Thrive. Thrive has a wonderful flavor. In fact, I'm gonna use the Thrive. I'll save those cubes for later. So the broth is rich, it's delicious chicken broth, and that's what you would use for the pork recipe as well. And then you need Mexican oregano, garlic. I'm gonna mince all that, and you're gonna slice your onions, cut them in half and slice them so they break down beautifully in the canning process. I just made French onion soup for you guys, and it is out of this world delicious. And I'm using all Tatler lids again today, just like I did in that recipe. And I canned up, I didn't bring you along, but I smoked 3 to 4 pound roasts on the big green egg and to medium rare, and then I canned it up with onion and garlic in a rich wine broth. Absolutely wonderful. If you want to see something like that, I have a few more roasts that I can put in the pantry shelf, and just let me know. I will do it for you. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in and I'm going to get all this stuff prepped, and we'll put together our broth on camera. But you won't see the prep part because it's kind of boring. I'm gonna cut up the onions. I've got 5 pounds of chicken breast and 4 pounds of boneless, skinless thighs. I'm gonna leave the fat intact. I want that fat to help the broth, and it's gonna be full of flavor. It's gonna be so good. All right, guys, come on in. Okay, I decided I should probably film a little bit of this. I did cut my onions and my garlic, and they want you to cut your onions, slice them in thin half moon slices. So I did those 3 onions. It's more than enough for this recipe. And if I have some of this broth extra, I'm gonna use it and make myself some soup. So I'm excited. I was gonna make a broccoli cheese soup using Thrive. If you guys wanna see that video, because we're getting cold weather, not cold enough to kill the garden, but chilly. So I'm cutting the chicken breast in, 1.5 inch cubes, kind of a little bigger than bite size, I guess you'd say. I'm leaving the fat, any fat that's on there, I'm leaving it. I want that fat content because the original roast pork, and we're going to roast this chicken in a 500 or 425 degree oven. The roasted pork, they call for a pork butt, or a Boston butt, or a shoulder. So you got plenty of fat content. I'm with Lisa from Sutton's Days. I do not like to can pork loin. It ends up dry. Now, why chicken breast doesn't, I don't know, but it doesn't. And it ends up delicious. Not so ugly chicken. It's gonna be beautiful. Anyway, I did pull out the red pepper flakes and the black pepper that this has got to go in the broth as well. And so I'm going to finish cutting up this chicken, get those thighs cut up as well. And we're going to mix that a little bit of salt and pepper on the sheet pan. I've got my extra large sheet pan right down here with lined with parchment, and I believe I can get the whole 9 pounds on there, but if not, I'll have another sheet pan ready to go. Okay guys, this is a full-size sheet pan. It's overcrowded, but I'm gonna turn this part way through. My oven is preheated to 425 and on convection, so this could be good. I'm going ahead and seasoning with salt and pepper, and that's what the recipe calls for, but there's no salt in my bone broth, so, and this is a lot, 9 pounds of meat. You want a little bit of seasoning, and we'll test our broth for seasoning as well. So this is going in the oven. I'll bring you back when this is all roasted up for the jars, and it looks like more than I need, but I figured it out. 1.25 pounds per jar should be pretty close to 10 pounds of meat. So, but I want room for those onions. All right, and I'll get to making the broth. I'll bring you for that. Okay, I've got my 6-quart stock pot, and I'm gonna just go ahead with the onions and the garlic and get it in there. Whew, okay. And it's got a lot of onions. I love how much onion is in this recipe. So I'm almost tripling the recipe, not quite. So if I have to make more broth, darn it, I'll have to make more broth, but I think I'm gonna be good. So we're gonna go ahead and get our bone broth in here. I've got chicken bone broth and turkey bone broth. So I'm going to use 3 quarts total. And these are from, oh wow, I've got, this one's from 2017. The others are from last year. Nice. That was a 2017 seal. Nice. Beautiful. And it frees up more jars for more canning. I get excited when I open jars. I'm not adding to the landfill. I'm absolutely getting wonderful product. And I know what's in it. I'm also going to add 1 quart of plain water. And we're going to get this heat. I'm going to do an additional 1 quart of water. If I have more broth, I'm okay with that. So let's get some more water. And another 1 quart anyway. Actually, we'll do a healthy 2 more cups. That should be plenty. All right. So now the recipe calls for Mexican oregano, and it calls for 1.5 tablespoons of dried oregano. So we're gonna do 3 tablespoons, 2, 3, 4, we'll do 5. Oh, it smells good. I love Mexican oregano. I'll tell you, it will make this dish. Okay, and that's all got to rehydrate in the broth. It also calls for red pepper flakes. So the red pepper flakes, I had about 4 tablespoons of garlic. Let's see, 2 tablespoons of red pepper flakes. So that's it's gonna make it spicy. I love it. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna leave it at 4.5 until I taste it. We're gonna get this on the stove, get it heated up, and I've got my chicken is salted and peppered. I'm gonna add some Thrive chicken bouillon, and how easy is it to have this on the shelf? And because I added that extra 1.5 quart, we're gonna do 2 tablespoons. And then again, we're gonna taste for depth of flavor, salt, all that. So let's get this on the stove and get these onions started down while the chicken is in the oven, and it'll probably be in there a good half hour, 45 minutes. I wanted to show you the broth. After it's simmered like this, a pretty good simmer, then the oregano and the pepper flakes kind of go down into the broth, and you want your onions to, get limp. It's tempting to just put it in the canner, but oh my goodness, it smells heavenly in here. And I'm gonna get a little taste test because I can't stand it any longer. So this has got a little bit of the oregano, and I can see the red pepper flake and the rich broth. Oh my gosh, how delicious. Okay, here we go. It's absolutely perfect. And the chicken, ooh, it's spicy. Yum. Ooh, yeah, it's got a kick. The chicken itself will lend a lot of flavor. Now I'm at the halfway point in the oven, and I was getting some browning, pretty good browning on top. I broke up all the pieces and turned it over. So now it's kind of roasting on the other side. And as soon as that is got some nice brown on it, then I'm taking it out. It'll be about 80% cooked, and we'll get to jarring this up. It's, delicious. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Okay guys, the chicken is out of the oven, and it's it's pretty much cooked through. It's got little crispy edges on it. I love it. I cranked the oven up a little bit so we could get it done, because that took 45 minutes. And that was turning it halfway through. But you want all the impurities to get out of the meat. So I think it's important. And we've got our hot jars here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to load my jars with the meat mixture. And the broth is unbelievable. Now I am gonna pour, well, no, I'm not, because I don't want the impurities that I had, from cooking the chicken. I don't want that in my broth, even though that's probably full of flavor. It's still gonna lend some flavor. And then I want about a heaping half filled, if that makes sense. About 2/3 the way full is how I want it. Loosely packed, don't pack it down. And we'll give that broth a nice stir, and I'm going to bring you in close so you can see how delicious. Now I've got all Tatler lids, and I'm using them, and they're soaking in hot water, almost boiling, to soften those. Oh, look at that. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. This is going to be delicious. I couldn't stay out of the broth. You want an inch of headspace. So your meat's going to be completely submerged. And you don't really need to debubble, but it might help position the onions and the meat down in there a little bit better. So 1 inch of headspace, perfect. Everything's submerged. Oh, super exciting. And then get yourself a paper towel. I am not ready. And a pair of tongs is how I get my Tatler lids out. So dip in some hot water, or you can use vinegar. And that water is screaming hot. That was really hot. So I grabbed one of my lids. Now these are brand new lids and gaskets. I put a Sharpie marker on there. This is the first time I'm canning with these. So that way I know how many times I've used the gasket. That's the reason for that. And you put for these lids, you're supposed to put them a little tighter than finger tight and then back them off. So I just snug them down. It doesn't make any sense to me to finger tight and then back it up a little. This is like, well, why? Yeah, I don't know. I've done it both ways, and I have really good success rate. And if one of these doesn't seal, oh, darn it, we're gonna have dinner. up to pressure. I'm gonna let it vent out of the petcock for 10 full minutes. That's part of the timing process. Don't shortcut this. The cooking time is the heat up and the cool down included. Because these are 1.5 pint jars, they're gonna can for the quart timing, because that's the only timing we have to go by. It's getting ready to start venting, which I'm super excited. Okay guys, so the canner has had a chance to come down off of pressure on its own, and I tip the lid so it can let some steam out for a while. It's probably been longer than usual just because I went to my daughter's, but the water looks relatively clear. Oh my gosh, these look beautiful in the jar. Look at that. That looks amazing. Very appetizing. They're still boiling in there, but it's not so expanded. I think we've got really good headspace, and I can see that that jar lid has sucked down. I'll be shocked if I don't have 100%. And I will let you know how many jars actually seal, but look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So pretty in the jar. And so I'm gonna test the rings on all of these, make sure they're, they feel snug. I'm not gonna crank on them. I don't feel that there's a need for that. It's been my experience. Now, if I get in the canner and I see that a ring has loosened, which happens, then like I said, I will go ahead. But look at that. Now this one sounded a little loose. Nope, it's not. All right. So guys, I hope that this inspires you to try your hand at home canning. Get your pantry shelves stocked, because right now we don't know what's ahead. We've never known what's ahead. I've always prepped ahead for the coming year, maybe 2 years from now. I bought this chicken today or the other day at today's prices, but next year or 6 months from now, that could be double or triple. We don't know. And so I'm gonna have, every one of these jars will be at least a meal for 2 people. So for me, 2 meals out of each jar, maybe 3. Absolutely wonderful. And I hope it inspires you to try your hand at home canning. And if you're not sure what you're doing, oh my gosh, that water looks so good. It's so nice and clear. If you're not sure if you're using an approved recipe, please reference a bulk canning book or the National Home for Food Preservation website, and make sure that you're doing things properly. It's beautiful. I'm super excited to have this on the shelf, because trust me when I tell you, what was left over is so amazing. All right, guys, I can't wait to see you next time. Please leave me a comment. I hope you hit the like button. I hope that you share this video, because there's other people out there that need to learn to start canning, and or at least get the inspiration. That's my whole purpose for this, is to inspire you to try to do this. Try to be more self-reliant. Try to prep ahead so you don't have to worry about it. All right. As always, guys, I'll see you next time for a delicious recipe, and I am going to bring you along for